What a strong and effective defensive mechanism. I find the behavior of predators utterly fascinating. It closed again. I believe I saw a small cloud of gas. I wonder what secrets this plant is hiding. Perhaps if we agitate it to a greater extent whilst it is opened, it will reveal a little more. I am interested in what might occur if the prickly plant should shoot at it. It appears to open after being soaked with alkaloid.
Jetzt nehmen wir die Raupe und packen sie hier drauf.
Toxic gas with spores. Extraordinary. The plants would be capable of killing only if they were directly next to the victim and stimulated at precisely the right moment.
Let us take our caterpillars to the Colonial Collection Room. We may see things more clearly there.
It is too early, Watson. Our suspects will be there. Let us investigate Kew Gardens one more time and ask some questions.
Ermittlungen in Kew Gardens an tödlichen Pflanzen finden abgeschlossen. Möglichkeit Simulation. Also tödliche Präzision und verschwundene tödliche Pflanzen. Mord der Sekte, die göttliche Gesellschaft ließ die tödlichen Pflanzen in Kew Gardens, um mit ihnen Montague Dunn zu einem späteren Zeitpunkt zu ermorden. Nein. Sekte nicht verwickelt, jemand stahl die tödlichen Pflanzen, bevor die göttliche Gesellschaft dies tun konnte. Ja. Also finden Sie heraus, wie die tödlichen Pflanzen im Kolonialhaus kombiniert werden könnten. Finden Sie heraus, wer Montague Dunn ermordet hat und unterhalten Sie sich, bevor Sie das Experiment im Kolonialhaus durchführen, mit allen Verdächtigen über den Tag des Mordes. Machen wir. Hallo! Bin da, wer noch? Falscher Knopf. Hi. Vor Dunns Tod.
Can you tell me if you saw Mr. Montague Dunn on the day of his death?
Yes, of course. I met him, and we went to see Albert, his son, at around 9:30. He appeared quite calm.
Was machten Sie an dem Morgen?
What were you doing on the morning of the accident?
After paying multiple visits to Albert, I had a little talk with Miss White. Then I returned to my desk to complete some paperwork. Suddenly I observed that Mr. Dunn was not feeling well, so I ran immediately to fetch Albert. I clearly remember that it was around 10:30, for I was late that morning.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation.
Albert, erzähl doch mal. Der Tag von Dunns Tod.
Your father's death does seem highly suspicious. What were your movements here on that day?
Suspicious? Well, I was working in the seed house, taking care of something, or Lear, Pontus, or... No, wait. Ah, these Latin names. And I spend so many hours trying to memorize them.
Did you see your father that day?
Yes, he came here with Mr. Hamish for his weekly visit. There was nothing unusual about that.
And then?
Nothing. They stepped out to the backyard. It was perhaps 20 minutes before 10 o'clock. Then about 10 minutes later, I saw my father heading for the dry tropics room while Mr. Hamish returned here.
Was machten die anderen?
And Mr. Hamish and Miss White, what were they both doing that morning?
Mr. Hamish visited me a couple of times. I also saw him returning from talking with Miss White, and that was at 10 minutes past 10. But then he ran back here to me to tell me that my father was feeling unwell. We hurried across to the water lily room, and I found my father lying dead on the floor. Oh, my God.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again soon.
Bisher deckt sich, glaube ich, alles, oder?
We can see the interior of the Colonial Collection Room from this window.
Hier gab es kein Fenster. Hier konnte man es, glaube ich, nicht sehen.
From here, we are unable to see the interior of the Colonial Collection Room.
Tag von Dunns Tod.
Can you tell me what Mr. Dunn was doing upon the day of his death?
I can, but there is nothing very special to say. I was in the laboratory when I saw Mr. Dunn heading towards me. Tuesday is the day of his weekly visit. It was supposed to be at 9, but he was 10 minutes late, as usual.
And then?
Well, he came in to say good morning. Then I saw him spend 2 or 3 minutes by the plants outside the laboratory. After that, he ran out in the direction of the nursery, where Mr. Hamish was working. He was always in a rush during the inspection, you see. I would pity anyone who stood in his way.
Zeitpunkt seines Todes.
And that was the last time you saw him?
Yes. I stayed in the laboratory until 20 minutes to 11, when I heard the cries of Albert and Mr. Hamish from the large glass house.
I joined them as soon as I could, for I knew that something must be very wrong.
What exactly were you doing in the laboratory?
I was recording an experiment for my thesis. I only stopped my work once when Mr. Hamish visited me briefly around 10 o'clock.
You say you were recording an experiment when the tragedy occurred. Might I listen to the roll?
Certainly. Please do. You will find it in the laboratory. It is number 320.
Du warst
Thank you, miss.
im Labor, also du warst nicht hier.
Everyone has gone, Holmes. The way is clear.
Legen Sie auf Basis der Informationen, die Sie gesammelt haben, den korrekten Ablauf der Ereignisse fest. Moment, da will ich noch gar nicht hin. Ich will erst... Kann ich hier bitte raus? Trotzdem stehen nicht im Weg rum. Brennt da hinten immer noch. Ich will erst nochmal ins Labor. mir das anhören.
I don't hear anything.
Wo ist denn der Bericht? Sie hat 320 gesagt. Oh, Tür öffnen.
Here it is.
Wachszylinder mit auf.
Cylinder records.
Na dann erzähl mal.
These plants, classified as shrubs or grasses, have adapted to their arid environment due to a system of underground roots.
This recording seems very long. It is unnecessary to listen to all of it. Miss White was in the laboratory, as she told us.
Aber du weißt doch nicht, von wann das war. Es kann doch wer weiß wann aufgenommen worden sein. Na gut. Also als erstes hast du Sporen eingeatmet. Dann hast du versucht, aus dem Raum zu fliehen.
When Montague Dunn was standing close by the plants, the caterpillars were released and caused the deadly spores to activate. Panicking, and likely already half asphyxiated, Montague Dunn started back and knocked over the bust. He rushed to the door, but it was locked. He had to force it open with his shoulder. We already know the outcome. Montague Dunn collapsed and died not far from the pool. Well, it is time to perform our experiment on the ventilation system. The caterpillars could only fall from the ventilation duct. Our caterpillars are in place. I'll activate the ventilation system so that they fall down. Watson, stay here and observe.
All right, Holmes.
So sagt er nix.